Alright, hi guys. Today we're going to go over conclusions. I'm going to show you some examples of what a proper conclusion looks like. I'm going to show you kind of how to break it down, and I'm going to show you the questions you should be asking yourself when making a conclusion, and kind of the just the general overview of what a conclusion should do and show. So here we go.
So here we have our kind of first look at a conclusion being broken down into three simple steps. The first step is restating your theme or historical context and changing the wording slightly. So with the kind of overall arching story that you're trying to bring through your whole entire essay, you should restate that in the beginning of your conclusion, and that can almost be like directly similar to your thesis that you'll have in your introduction, but you should change the wording just a little bit so it's not exact. Step two is give one example from each of your body paragraphs. So in a 5 paragraph essay, you'll have 3 body paragraphs, and it would be a good conclusion if you had small pieces of evidence from each of those body paragraphs. So almost like small summaries, each maybe being a sentence or so, and they're just kind of explaining the overall argument of each of those body paragraphs. And then step three is relate the topic to the world today, and then you can use phrases such as today we have similar blank such as blank, or we still have the same problems today such as. So this is kind of just like a call to action, and like the final kind of what's the point of this essay is kind of that step three. So a lot of people like to do is they relate that to like the modern world. So if you're writing an essay on like historical atrocities in like war, you can relate that to a more modern day kind of issue, such as, and then be like, this is the reason why I wrote this essay, and using the information that we just kind of went over in the past 4 paragraphs, you conclude with here's what the main takeaway is, and that's what that kind of relevance to the modern world is. Here we have another conclusion outline, and it has, again, with the step one, restating that thesis in the beginning of your conclusion. So kind of just stating what the initial kind of information. Then you have make reference to your hook. So whatever used in the introduction to kind of hook the reader, you should reference that in the conclusion. Summarizing main points, so that's the same thing as just taking those body paragraph sentences and putting them in the conclusion. And then you should choose a strategy. Which is to either be general to specific, go specific to general, give a warning and state the consequences of failing to act on the topic that you were discussing. You could give advice or a possible solution. You could tell a reader what he should now think, do, or feel. Tell what you really think about the topic. So these are just kind of different examples of that, bringing the topic to a more relevant modern day kind of worldview. And so instead of doing that, you could do any of these strategies listed below. So this is another conclusion outline, except this time it's just a little bit different. It's got the same first 2 parts as the last outlines I showed you, except now it's kind of got this counter argument that you can also put in. So in some essays, you'll be doing a comparison of 2 topics, and a good thing to do is kind of acknowledge the differences or kind of a rebuttal to the topic you're looking at. And so that's a good thing to include in your conclusion sometimes. And as it says there, sometimes the counter argument can be the last paragraph in your body paragraphs. So I would say that's another kind of good idea to think about when you're trying to put in a conclusion, is debating on whether you could possibly have a little rebuttal to the broad topic that you mentioned before. And yeah. All right, so here we have an example conclusion, and it goes like this. So teens younger than 16 should be allowed to go to the downtown shopping area whenever they want. So that's that first thesis statement. It's the general idea of the whole entire essay. Then they move on to, at a young age, that is one of the only places they can go by themselves. It is also their decision whether they are safe or not, and teens enjoy spending time with their friends. So right there, they kind of summarize their body paragraphs of their essay, and that's kind of just the supporting details to kind of the overarching principle, which is that first sentence. Then they move down to, if we let this curfew continue, the teens will not be happy about it and will not enjoy their free time as much as they want to. So that's the call to action. It's kind of just the summarization of what this whole entire essay mean. So if they fail to fix this curfew, teens are going to have a kind of a less happy time. And so that's just kind of a good example conclusion.
All right, guys, so that's what I got for you today on conclusions. I'll include some links down below, and yeah, see you in the next video.